Hello, beautiful Sagittarius family, and welcome to February 2021, where all the Aquarius energy converges together and we hang out in a huge party of Aquarian energy, which I actually really love for Sagittarius. Sagittarius Aquarius energy is a really great dynamic. It's one that works very, very well and has a lot of connectivity, so it's really great for you guys. But let's just go through what I'm talking about here when I'm talking about a lot of Aquarius energy. So I'm not messing around here. We have Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn moving through Aquarius. Venus moves into Aquarius on the 1st. We have a Mercury retrograde in Aquarius until I think, yes, the 20th of the month. And we have a new moon in Aquarius. So we have 5 planets moving through Aquarius and a new moon in Aquarius, all in the first 3 weeks of this month before we hit into Pisces season. Well, yeah, up 3-ish weeks. The sun moves into Pisces around the 18th, and then we have Venus moving into Pisces, and we have a full moon in Virgo to finish out the month. However, there is a dominant theme here of Aquarian energy all month long. And this ties in really interesting to Saggies because this is 3rd house energy. So this is about speaking and writing and being in the moment, being in the short-term goals and connections and thoughts. And it's really interesting because that general theme is getting highlighted for all of us with the North Node in Gemini. And with that also has been this kind of taking some pressure off of the South Node in Sagittarius, where we normally think big and expansive and bold and juicy, right? And so this month is really pulling Saggies back to the magic of your words and your thoughts and the details. And I'm also going to say this in the context, I've been doing a number of readings already for this month, so I know this Mercury retrograde in general is a time to acclimatize to Aquarius energy. It is a time to integrate and to heal and to review. And it's something to take very seriously, not as something that is non-action, not as something that is about sitting still or just putting up with. This is actually the way that we move forward really effectively. So you're going to want to utilize this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius to your advantage, but you are getting asked to pull into the magic of the details, the magic of the short term, and trust that that does not preclude the big picture happening. It is just the way to get to the big picture at this time for Sagittarius. And this year is going to keep that lesson repeating. So where you Saggies often want to think big, which I love, believe me, I have Sag energy too, so I'm right there with you. Think big and dream it up. You're going to keep getting pulled back to the details. And at first you may think, wait a second, I'm not doing anything. If this is the only place I can proactively make shifts, then how am I moving through this world, right? But it is actually a part of the big picture, right? And so it's just that sometimes counterintuitive, even though it's really deeply intuitive, way of approaching the bigger picture in life. And so don't let it fool you. Don't let it fool you. And this month especially is going to feel like that with this Mercury retrograde specifically in Aquarius. And I will be doing a deeper dive over on my Patreon for that. 7 of Swords. There we go. There's some Mercury retrograde action for you. I don't particularly like to demonize those, and I'm actually excited for this one. We need time to integrate. We need time to get used to Aquarian energy because we have not been working with it and as a collective, and we aren't used to it yet. We need to acclimatize. We don't want to get altitude sickness. And so it's very important and it's great medicine. But I think just knowing how to work with a Mercury retrograde energy, Ace of Swords, that card's coming out a lot in the February readings. Death. All right, here we go. Sag, you never fail to surprise me. So far, you're the only sign that has been getting some of these cards. And Queen of Pentacles. Let's go on this adventure together, shall we? Wow. Okay, this is a time of integration, though. It's also, and this is an overarching message, this is going to be true for every single sign, I think, regardless, your chart, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a time of real review, of getting very honest with who you are now, right? Seven of Swords. So a few things come up for me when I see this card in a reading. One is imposter syndrome, getting away with things you think you're not allowed to do, getting away with things. And these are things that, like, you know, you have some inner authority that's telling you you're not allowed to do a different job or do a different project, you know, things that just don't make, you know, and also self-trust. Can you trust yourself? Do you feel you can trust yourself? And this is a question that's going to come up a lot as we're getting used to this new energetic cycle. And when Seven of Swords shows up, it's just a moment to look around. You know, where are you feeling maybe like you don't trust yourself, like you're looking around looking for things that are going to go wrong, or where you feel like you're not allowed to grow, where you feel like maybe you're betraying yourself, or maybe you're betraying your family, or maybe somebody's going to call you out and say you're not allowed to grow or change or morph. So Seven of Swords comes out. It tells me that there is something changing and shifting inside of you, and and sometimes we can get worried that it's not okay, right? But here's the thing, you all. You're changing. Your path is opening up before you, and it is shifting and moving and morphing and growing. What I see here is two open doors. And yes, they have very different modalities. The Ace of Swords cuts you open into a new dynamic. I think about like slicing through a veil that's been like, you couldn't quite see through it. And so now you can see what's next with a lot more clarity. And with that is going to become, there's going to be a leaving behind. There's going to be a grieving. And here's where I think this Mercury retrograde is very important. Pieces have been shifting for a long time, for many, many months here, as we have been navigating. And I think about, you know, the eclipses happening in Sagittarius right now, right? Like, not this month, but that's when we have eclipse seasons like this summer. They're going to be happening in Gemini and Sagittarius. And there's this shifting happening, this changing of like who you identify as, how you identify your value, your worth, your work, your creativity, your connection, all of that. I think whenever we step fully into our next self, we can be really excited. And honestly, this Ace of Swords, it's exciting. It's exciting clarity. It's exciting adventure. It's exciting communication. There's a lot to be excited about. I actually get butterflies in my stomach when I'm talking here with you all. Whenever we really step into something meaningful, we always sit with death at the same time. It all comes together at the same table and we have a meal, because we have to, in order to fully say yes, we have to be able to commune with what we are leaving behind. You know, one of the things I love about the death card is that a huge chunk of it, or a very important part of it, is the sunrise. It is innately about this sunrise coming through the night into the light. And I find this happens a lot. I know it's happening in my own personal life, just to be a little bit more sherry on these videos. You know, I'm going through a huge transition in my personal life. That is amazing. You know, I'm moving, and I'm now married, and all of these things that are so amazing, but it means that I have to leave behind the woman who lived by herself and did things in a different way, and had a whole little world, right? I'm leaving, it's not like I'm leaving myself behind just because I got married, but I'm leaving behind a chapter, a version of myself, right? And so while there's so much excitement and I'm all ready for it, I also have to sit with that shift, right? And so it tells me that there's something bigger going on with Saggies than I think, comprehended when I sat down to do this reading. I knew that it was going to require you coming back into the details, and finding some trust with yourself in the way you treat yourself, in the way you talk to yourself, in the way you cast spells in your day with your thoughts, in the way you... This is a great month, by the way, for you all to journal and play with words as a source of inspiration. But there is a transformation afoot here, and I'm excited for it, because here's the thing. We get the nurturing queen at the very end. And we do head into Pisces season at the end of this month, which jives with Sag in the sense that this is going to be very much about your self-mothering, your self-nurturing. How are you treating yourself in this transformation? How are you accepting and embracing and anchoring yourself in this transformation? Once we hit Pisces season in that last week of February, and as we move out of the Mercury retrograde, I really want you, Sages, to take impeccable care of yourselves. And I mean that in the most practical way possible. Honor the heck out of yourselves. Honor yourselves. Show that deep kindness to who you are becoming, and just show the whole, all the way up, committed fully. No holds barred. All right, I want to pull a final card from my Animal Totem Tarot to close out this conversation. This is one of the most exciting readings I've done this month, because there's something really cool happening here. There's this opportunity opening and this closing out. And it's like, whoa, because this isn't an eclipse month. This isn't, a particularly dramatic month in some ways. But for you, for some reason, this is hitting in a really unique way. But let's shuffle this final card. February is just going to be such an interesting ride. I get tingly anytime I talk about February. I'm telling you, it's just like, ooh, this is just going to be such a different ride to be on the rest of 2020. Ooh, the card want to come out, and it's the Empress. And I love that. Sacred cow, right? So let's find her message. I can never go wrong with an Empress message. Empress, the sacred cow. Here she is. This looks like one of those Scottish cows in the Scottish Highlands that are just so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And here is the message. On the way towards birth, something amazing happens. Creation. It is the act of creation that brings together the magic of the universe and the power of the spirit. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. It is through the creation process that the soul gets to express itself unencumbered. Yet everyone seems more impressed with the big bang at the end. How funny that the end is the only part that seems to be cause for celebration. Look deep into my eyes and let me show you how to tap into the true magic you have inside of you. Come, lay down on the grass amongst the wildflowers and let me show you what real creative love feels like. I was just thinking how the Empress is the counterpart to the Death card, and I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about this. But, yeah. Creativity is very quiet, it's slow and soft, and you sometimes don't even realize it's happening, right? Because it is slow and soft. It's like any practice of any skill, it starts off and you don't even think you're making any progress, and then suddenly it's like you suddenly know how to do something better. And I think for you, that's where this whole third house and South Node in Sagittarius is reminding you of the magic of your creative capacity from that subtle place. And don't underestimate this month for making huge strides in your life, even when you think that things are just going along hum-ho. There's something very big happening here for Saggies, and I just obviously each of you, it's going to be so different. I can't stop feeling it. It's really powerful. So if you're looking for more support and you want to hang out with me more and just talk about weird things in life, I'd love to see you over on my Patreon, where we will be hanging out, talking about this Mercury retrograde, working through the month of February together. It's a great space to connect with me. You can also find me on my Instagram and on my website. So I'd love to see you in any of those places. You can also find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop, so I will leave her link below as well. I hope you have a beautiful February, my Sagittarius family. You all mean so much to me, and you know that, but I always have to tell you how much you mean to me and how much this reading just got to me. So have a beautiful February. I will talk to you in March on the other side of this Mercury retrograde.